This man phones me up and offers me £1.6 million. I said no.
What? Tony Bellew causes a sudden inspection in world boxing.
Amir and this crazy Ukrainian shouting, I want Bellew next. Phone's at the end. I've gone, listen here, you. If you don't make this fight, I will. If I didn't have boxing in my life that motivated me and driven me, I would be in the ground. And in the background, I've got a movie. I've got a career slot in the movie Creed. I've got MGM down me back and Warner Brothers saying, you need to sign this. I'm saying, I'm not signing nothing until this fight's over. So Kugler, Michael B. Jordan and Sly Stallone sat there and watched that fight from America. I've been telling people since I was 15 years old, I'm going to win a WBC World Title at Goodison Park. There's never been a fight at Goodison Park. Do you know what the first thing that comes to my mind was? I'm not a bullshitter. I've done it. British, Commonwealth, European, WBC World Champion at Goodison Park. I've done it. It's over.
At what point was you okay with not fighting anymore?
I'm still okay with it now. I could get in the ring tomorrow with any heavyweight in the world.
Could we ever see Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua?
He'd be done for GBH.
Well, you had a bit of needle with Jake Paul, actually. Would you fight him?
I've got a price. We've all got a price.
Hello and welcome back to First Round TV. This episode, I've got my good mate, Evertonian, Tony Bellew on. Tony, he came second today. We're at his golf club as we record it. We're at his golf course, Southport and Ainsdale. I'm right in saying, yeah.
Beautiful course.
I won. Tony comes second.
Okay.
How are you, mate?
Didn't lose.
Good?
I'm all right, mate.
Yeah,
I didn't lose, so I'm happy.
Yeah. Put it this way, to all the viewers here, if he would have lost, this would have been the worst episode ever. But he didn't.
No, the forfeits today were harsh, to say the least.
Should we let him know?
Well,
what's the channel called?
Lock and Tea Golf Channel. Myself and Locksmith from the band Rudimental, we head it up, and we've been thinking for a while of we need forfeits that really aren't nice. So last night we were coming up with stuff, and we just said, tell you what, we've got three people coming on today, and we all idolise and adore our football clubs. And fortunately for us, we all know probably the biggest legend at the football clubs. So we drew up a message and basically said, if Darren loses this game, he's got to text John Terry, I made a mistake. I should have supported Tottenham as a kid. Lockie had to message Sir Ian Wright, if I lose, I should have supported Tottenham as a kid. And even better still, I had to message Duncan Ferguson, the angriest and the toughest out of three, that if I'd have lost, I should have supported Liverpool. So I don't care if I won today, I just didn't want to lose. And thankfully I didn't.
Here we are, gold and silver.
Yes.
Right, so I'm going to jump straight in here.
Go on, champ.
You once said you didn't just love boxing, you needed it. What did you mean by that?
I was a kid who was basically expelled from school for fighting. And I always wanted nicer things. And if I didn't have boxing in my life that motivated me and driven me, I know for a fact that I still got them nicer things, but I wouldn't have had the discipline, the dedication, and I wouldn't have had the tracks to keep running me on the straight and narrow that boxing gave me. I'd 100. I know we always hear this whole cliche, oh, I'd be dead if I would be in the ground. I was nuts as a kid. I'm really respectful. Anyone who knows me will go, you're not like that. But I was insanely driven to have nice things. When you grow up and you're one of four brothers, and my dad left when I was 10. My two elder brothers then left the house. One of my elder brothers went to university, the other one went to live in the Isle of Man. It's just I wanted better, and with no qualifications from school, you just like what you want to do, and you grow up in an area like mine. And I don't claim to grow up in the roughest and toughest area, but you know, the first time I found out what a solicitor was we'd been in a bus crash, and I'd been in a bus crash, we got hit by a lorry, and my mum took me to see this fella. And he just went, right, your back's terrible, isn't it? You know, it's really bad. You know, you've been in the doctors for a week. You need to go back to the hospital to have an x-ray. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm absolutely fine. And as we know, this things you're going to say, you're going to get paid the right few quid for being in a bus crash. And I was like, is this what you do? And like, he was a solicitor. And just growing up the way I did, you didn't realise what great jobs were, what well-paid jobs were, how to get them, what to do. You just look at what the lads are doing, and everyone's grafting in the area, and then you can take what you want from what I mean when I say graft. I graft me nuts off, but I graft me nuts off and pay a fortune to the HMRC. That's what I do. But that's not what everyone done when I was growing up.
Yeah, but why boxing?
Because I'm good at it. I like it.
And how was you introduced to boxing?
I kickboxed at first, got disqualified in my last 2 contests for knocking someone out with punches to the head. The kickboxing coach at the time, his name was Alfie Lewis, probably the greatest kickboxer this country's ever produced. He was amazing. And he just said, son, I think you should give boxing a go. So my dad always preferred me to do boxing, but if anything, kickboxing was easier than boxing.
Was it really?
Yeah. Especially, I got to brown and white belt, 1 belt before black, and I had to take a 12-month grading to get the black belt. And all the other grading things were every 3 months. So it was like when you're building into a purple belt, to get a purple and white, it's only 3-month gap. When they said to me 12 months, I was like, oh, forget this. I'm not doing this. Got disqualified in them last 2 fights and basically just went to a boxing gym. My first ever boxing session, I went to Kirkdale ABC. Didn't like the smell of the gym. It stunk. Didn't quite like the atmosphere. They were training really hard. And I thought, okay, walked in, done a session, come out. Didn't go back for a few weeks. Went to try Rotunda ABC. Went into Rotunda ABC.
Smelled nice.
It didn't smell as bad as Kirkdale. Went into Rotunda, nailed the bag a few times, punched a little bit, and Jimmy Albertina come over to me and said to me, how many bouts have you had? I said, I've never boxed before. He said, don't lie to me. He said, tell me how many bouts you've had. He said, kids don't hit the bag like you're hitting that bag who haven't boxed. I said, my dad taught me how to punch and I used to kickbox. He said, no, you've had bouts. I said, I haven't. I said, but when could I have my first bout? I said, I feel like I'm ready now. He said, you don't tell me, kid, when you're going to box. He said, I tell you, probably about 18 months. Finished the session, walked out the gym and left. Straight away, never went back to Rotunda for a while. Went to Stockbridge ABC, done a session. My second session was a sparring session, which was absolutely amazing. I was over the moon. And then 6 weeks later, I had my first bout. Won by knockout.
Was Stonebridge?
Stockbridge ABC. Stockbridge ABC, Canny Farm. I had a really good coach there in Mark Kinney. Another fella, Smogger, was there. Good coaches, looked after us, and I loved it. I had 3 bouts back-to-back, 3 knockout wins, 3 stoppages in my first 3 amateur bouts. I was really nervous. That first one against a kid called Rob Beach. Is it Beachy or Brooks? No, it was Beach. And I chinned him in the 3rd. I just swung haymakers, just went out there and swung for the lights. Literally, I was petrified. Never forget, I've only ever been nervous for 2 fights in my life. This one and the Goodison Park one. I turned up at the weigh-in and I was a late developer. To be honest, I'm still waiting to develop now.
Mentally, you are, definitely.
No, physically and mentally, mate. I'm still waiting to develop. The goldfish hasn't grown to its full capacity yet. I'm expecting it to kick in at some stage.
We're in the same boat, mate.
So, I remember turning up for the weigh-in for my first ever amateur bout against this Rob Beach from St. Helens ABC. Chizzy's, John Chisnell's gym. And we weighed in and Mark went to me, that's the kid you're boxing. And he had a hairy face and a hairy chest. And he was 17, I was 15. And I went, this can't be right. Are you stitching? I can't be fighting. He's a full-grown man. And he went, he's not. He's 17. You're at cadet level. Like, you're not a junior no more. And this is my first ever bout. And I was like, this is not fair. So I started whinging to me dad. Last person you want to whinge to is my old fella. Don't ever come over here and whinge. He just gave me a look. He just looked at me. I said, Dad, it's not fair. I'm fighting a man. And I just like, that's this look he gave me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to walk over to the coach. I'll tell him I'm fighting, no problem. Went in the ring and just didn't listen to any instructions. Just started letting my hands go, trying to get rid of him. Thankfully, I caught him with a whopper right hand in the 3rd, stopped him. That went on. Next fight.
So at that point, sorry, what's that, 4 fights, 4 stoppages?
Yeah, so 3 fights, 3 stoppages.
3 fights, 3 stoppages.
3 fights, 3 stoppages. Second fight, I knocked the kid out in 29 seconds. Flattened him. Ryan Connolly, his name was, from Bellevale ABC. 3rd fight was in the Dockers Club. I chinned him. And then the 4th fight, I ended up
Dockers Belfast?
No, the Dockers.
Right.
No, sorry, not the Dockers. It was in the Montrose in Anfield.
Right.
Smoke-filled room, as the old social clubs go. And then the 4th fight, I boxed a guy called James Boyd. And he went on to win the ABAs that year in my 4th amateur fight. I got into a fight. I was having a good back and forth with him. He was more experienced than me. And he spat in my face. So I butted him on the nose as hard as I could. So the referee...
On purpose?
Yeah, I butted him as hard as I could, right on the nose. I tried to break his nose. And the referee just threw me out and said, "You're an animal." I said, "You seen him spit at me. What do you want me to do?" He said, "Get out. You're disqualified." I went back to Rotunda with my tail between my legs.
4 fights?
Yeah.
So you had your first 4 fights. You haven't heard the final bell once?
No. So, yeah, went back to Rotunda ABC. And Mark Kinney took a job in Jaguar. Mark Kinney was a brilliant coach. But he took a job in Jaguar Land Rover. That meant he was only in the gym once every 1 week out of 4, 1 week out of 3, week of days, week of afternoons, week of nights. And I just needed to move on. So without Mark Kinney at my helm, I couldn't have done it. So went to Rotunda ABC, and then that's when my eyes got opened by Jimmy Albertina. That's when I really realised I'm all right at this boxing. I can do okay. Because I was fighting for fun. I just enjoy fighting, Daz. I like fighting.
Was it ticking the box? Was it sort of filling the void for you at the time? Do you know what I mean? Was boxing doing what it should have been doing for you? You know, like was it that path for you? Was you thinking then, "Oh, I can get these nice things now"?
At this stage now, I'm working on nightclub doors. I'm working with my dad, and then I'm boxing for Rotunda ABC, and everything's. I've got no. At that time, I think I was working on the railway. I was working on the door on the weekends, and then I boxed in Rotunda. But when I went to Rotunda, that's when I really started to believe I can be a world champion. The fighters I was studying, the likes of Roy Jones, James Toney, Riddick Bowe, all these fights, like people hadn't really heard of them. And in this country, you were sending away for VHS tapes, and I was doing that, sending to America at this young age. So I was paying attention to them and watching them and studying them and copying them and trying to be like them. And then when I went to Rotunda, I started training. The training intensified tenfold. The way they trained in Rotunda, they trained like professionals. Jimmy Albertina, to this day, is the greatest coach I've ever known.
Really?
As a man, as a human being, as a person. At amateur level, and no one could ever touch him. And I went on GB squads and being part of England, as you have. Just, he knew his fighters and he knew how to condition you. He knew how to make you peak at the perfect time. He knew when you needed a day off. He knew when you needed to be pushed. I don't know how he knew, but I miss him even to this day. He's not with us no more, but he was the big part of my life, and he was the person who made me think to myself, I'm good enough to be a world champion. I never thought before I went there, I just thought I was going to end up as a kid who enjoyed the fight, but then went on to do other things. And it was only when I met him that just started to genuinely believe I can be something here.
So you finished your amateur career with how many fights and what achievements?
47 amateur bouts, 3-time ABA champion, 4 nations gold, a couple of multi-nation wins in there. Well, they're not multi-nation wins. I went to Ireland in some tournament for England, and I knocked out the Greek number 1 and number 2, and then won that tournament in Ireland. That's all I ever won. I never lost a dual international. I beat Russia, America, Poland, Hungary. There's loads there. I never lost a dual international. The only time I lost for my country was I lost in 1 multi-nations in South America. I got absolutely robbed in Puerto Rico. I knocked out the Puerto Rican number 1 in 15 seconds. I cleaned them out, 1 shot, bang, all over, out like a light. And then I fought the Brazilian the next day. It should have been stopped because I gave him 4 counts. I gave him 4 standing counts.
Yeah.
It should have been stopped, and he didn't stop it, and said he beat me on points. He beat me on a count back, which is nuts. So I lost that multi-nations, and then I went to European Championships and lost in the first round to a 6'5" Czech Republic southpaw. Oh, he was horrible. He was an absolute nightmare. He punched me all over the place. At the first round, he was 5-0 up. Second round, it was 5-all. And then the third round, he just opened up. He just teed off on me.
Really?
Yeah, I ate southpaws. He was massive as well. So yeah, I had 47 bouts as an amateur, 140, stopped 32. Yeah.
Just, right, okay, what I'm going to say is here, right? So you make your pro debut, you turn pro.
Yeah.
October 7th. Sorry, I haven't got a year here. What year was it?
2000 and... My son was born. 2007.
All right. Well,
2008.
in Nottingham.
Yeah.
Who else was on the undercard?
Amir Khan was top of the bill.
Yes.
Nottingham Ice Arena. I fought Jamie Ambler. Amir was my mate. I didn't pay attention to absolutely anyone else. If I have to think back, I'd say something's telling me Andy Morris was on the bill. I don't know.
I don't think so, but I singled out 4 names here. Kell Brook.
Yeah.
Don Broadhurst, who we boxed with in the
Don was my
amateurs.
mate.
Anthony Croller.
Croller was on there, yeah.
And Stephen Bell, who was he was a Commonwealth captain.
I should have known because 3 of them, me, Belly, and Croller were all in the same gym together. Farnell was training us.
Right, so you get the job done in the second round.
Yeah.
Okay, and I want to throw a little stat here. Okay. Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm just going to work out what way round I'm going to do this. My knockout ratio as a professional, right, was 61.5%. Okay. And I wasn't known as a puncher, but you knocked out 30 of your amateur opponents.
Yeah.
What was your knockout percentage?
I have no idea. Well, okay, I had 34 bouts and I stopped 20. So what's that? 2 out of 3.
So, look, your knockout percentage is 66.5. So that means you're only 5% a bigger puncher than me. So technically, does that mean I'm a big puncher?
No, it means you're good. Because the stoppages don't really mean much. It's the wins that mean the most for me. I didn't care if I just wanted to win.
Yeah, hold on a minute. But your nickname is the Bomber.
Yeah, I could punch.
You stopped 30 of your 47 amateur
There's no one
opponents,
I've ever been in a ring with
and
sparred.
you're only 5% better than me. So
so if we looked at it the other way, then I'd go, of everyone I've ever fought or sparred, I've never been in a ring with someone and they haven't felt it. I've never not had a reaction. Whenever I've hit someone, I've got a reaction. Every single person I've ever been in a boxing ring with.
So that means pretty much most of the people I would have been in with then would have felt it, because we are basically the same level of hard hitting.
You're digging here, mate. You're digging really deep.
Right, okay, so you go in along nicely as a pro.
Yeah.
And then your first test come in your 15th fight, Ovill McKenzie. Dropped twice.
Do you know what? I think the test came before then, if being honest. I think the first test came against Bob Adjasafe.
Oh, really?
He was horrible.
Did he win a British?
Yeah, he won a British and I think he won a European, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he might have, yeah. He was a nightmare, wasn't he?
An absolute horrible fight to face. It was like facing an octopus. It was like he had 5 arms. Honest to God, he just kept hitting me in fights.
The octopus.
Mate, he just kept slapping me and I was like, they're not hitting, but he was just so awkward and he had the Ingle style down to a T. He was a southpaw, which I hated, but I just got the job done. I got dropped a flash knockdown in that fight, you know, and yeah, it's just at light heavyweight in the Adjasafe fight.
Yeah,
I got a flash knockdown. Yeah,
blimey, you got dropped twice in the McKenzie fight. They should have called you the yo-yo.
Thanks for that, mate. But no, do you know what? He was a really good fighter, Bob. I'd say if I rated him, and he was unbeaten when I faced him.
If I remember rightly, he was a nice fella as well, wasn't he?
Lovely lad, lovely fella. He was a good lad, and he was very underrated, undefeated when I faced him. I gave him his first loss. It got to a stage where early in my career, I was blasting everyone. When I started my professional career, I was just taking people apart, and I was just, when you're an ABA champion and you box for your country and you've been around the world, fantastic.
Tony Bellew does what he wants.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're an ABA champion, you box for your country, you've been around the world, the standard you're fighting at's so high, and when you drop to first turn pro, it drops drastically.
And when you've got knockout power, like me and you did.
I go in with fellas. So my first 3 fights as a pro, I fought an unbeaten fighter in my 3rd fight. I think his name was Adam Wilcox on the Calzaghe-Kessler bill. I knocked him out in the 3rd round. And then I fought another unbeaten fighter in my 4th or 5th fight. Brooks, his name was, and I fought him on the Amir Khan Graham Ale card. And I broke his ribs with body shots. I remember I couldn't break him to the head. I kept nailing him. I was never light heavyweight, if I'm being totally honest. I was extremely vulnerable. As a cruiserweight, I only got dropped once, if I can remember, unfortunately, against Usyk. I had so much more durability about me at cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say I was the full package, but I was a problem and I was durable. I was durable at cruiserweight. It was only with the one fight, as I said, with Usyk, that I was exhausted and he made me exhaust and beat me. But yeah, the tests come thick and fast. That one against McKenzie, the first shot was against Adjasafe. I knew I'd say it was tricky. It was a horrible stylistic fight for me, so I knew it was going to be a problem. The McKenzie fight, I overlooked him, being totally honest. It's the only fight in my whole career where I looked at him on BoxRec and didn't study him.
Yeah.
I didn't show him the
I
respect
think
he
we're all
deserved.
guilty of doing that. I've done that many times.
That's the one thing I regret that fight, because I like Ovill McKenzie. I think he's a great fella, but I didn't pay him enough respect in that first fight. I did the second time round, but the first fight went in. I watched the Dean Francis fight. Lasted 30 seconds. He got chinned with a left hook. And I just thought, I throw a better left hook than Dean Francis. I'll copy you even quicker. Went in, flash knockdown in the first. Second round was where my eyes got opened. He blocked the shot off. I couldn't see it. Chose to look round the glove. Right hand hit me so hard. The next thing I seen after the right hand landed was me gloves were on the floor. And then that's when you know you're in the shit. I thought I landed face first. When my face hit the floor, that's what woke me up.
Serious?
Yeah.
Did it really?
Yeah. Because I just felt a thud and then see me gloves on the floor.
Oh.
And then I started talking to myself, you stupid bastard, get up.
It's like you on the golf course today.
Yeah. I talk to myself all the time. And listen, I know I've got a screw loose. So most of you people watching this and in this room now, I just admit it. So I talked to myself, got up. When I got up from that knockdown, I looked at Ovill McKenzie's eyes. He'd lost the fight there and then. He couldn't believe he hit me with the perfect punch. Like, he couldn't believe. He accused me before the rematch happened of being on drugs. He said no one could take that shot. He said, I work in nightclub doors. He said,
big punch.
I've hit people with clean shots like this. They don't get up. I said, well, you haven't come across a scouser like me yet.
So you beat him in the return as well.
British and Commonwealth champion.
And then it was a big rivalry, big grudge match with your mate Nathan Cleverly.
Yeah.
You didn't like him much, did you?
I still don't like him.
You still?
No. He's the only one.
What happened there?
It's just, after the first fight, I paid him respect. I thought I won the first fight, honest to God. I thought I'd done enough. I thought I won 7 out of the 12 rounds, which should have made me a winner. I didn't get the decision. I didn't whinge. I didn't complain. I shook hands with him after the fight. We had an embrace after the fight, and he said to me, that's the hardest fight I've ever had in my life. I said, listen, same here. I was pissing blood for a week after that fight. And I just said, fair play. Good luck and whatever you do. I thought I won, but it is what it is. After that embrace, he goes back to and does a press conference, and he says in the press conference, Tony Bellew, you can't really punch. I didn't have to get out of first gear, and I beat him easy. You know, I beat him with one hand, and I thought, you scumbag. You don't say one thing to someone's face, then walk into a room full of media and then tell them a completely different thing. I never forgave that, and I never will.
Serious?
I can't have that. If you're going to say one thing to me face, if he'd said to me face in the ring, I'd have gone, I think you're a wanker, but you know, all right, sound, whatever. But don't say one thing to me in the ring and then another thing in a press conference. So that infuriates me. I never forgave that. And then I got me upcomings in the rematch. If anything, I always hear this saying, they say in life everything happens for a reason. If I'd have got the decision that night, I'd have never have gone on to achieve what I achieved.
Do you think you was ready on that? Look, you was only 17 fights fighting for a world title, WBO world title.
My 16th fight for a world title.
Yeah.
It's madness. So
you're saying if you would have won the world title then?
I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't have done what I've done now. Right. It's not that I wasn't ready. It's just number one, I'm basically dead at the weight when I get to 28, 29. Number two, financially it wasn't as rewarding as I needed it to be. And looking back now, I realise that. But it is what it is. You know, I don't want to say I was managed well or looked after well. I done well with what I had at the start. And I'm not sure they thought I was as good as I actually was. That's why I think they thrown me to the wolves with the Cavalry fight. But I don't know. You live and learn. And with the Cleverly fight, it was, I don't know, Frank was he was a promoter for both of us. And I know he got on with both of us as well. But at the time it happened, it was just, you know, we were at a crossroads and then Frank thought he won. I thought I won. And I don't know. Frank wanted me to go a different way. I wanted to keep holding my British and Commonwealth titles. One of them got relinquished. And I wanted to, the British title meant the world to me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to keep it. So I defended it against Danny McIntosh in a comeback fight, which Frank didn't agree with. But looking back now, I understand why he didn't agree with it. He wanted me to stay at the world stage.
Did you win it outright?
No. I know I got the defence then and moved on. But Frank's thing was, win it, leave the British title behind. But my worry is no one's going to want to fight me. After the Cleverly fight, everyone's going, wow, didn't know you were that good. You were that good to box. Because I was out boxing him. I'm a better boxer than him. It's just as simple as that. I've got a better boxing brain. He might be a better cardio machine than me, but I'm just a better fighter all round than him. And Frank wanted me to stay at that level. But in hindsight, and with all due respect, none of us, the two of us at that stage weren't world class. That was a domestic fight for a world title. That's
How many defences had Cleverly had at that point?
If I'm right in thinking, I was his first defence.
Oh, right, okay.
So I was his first defence of the world title.
You avenge it anyway 3 years later.
Yeah.
That must have been a buzz. I was there, actually. I've got to be honest. It was a terrible fight.
No, it was. Listen, I've walked to the ring and my career's been on the line about 5 or 6 times. I've walked to the ring and I'm going, if I lose this, my career's over. First time was against Ovill McKenzie in the rematch.
Yeah.
I lose to Ovill McKenzie in the rematch because everyone thinks he did get stopped unjustly, to be fair, in the first fight. I copped him with a left hook. The referee watched me face plant down, face first in the second round. He lets me get up and continues. I get him with a left hook and drops him flat on his back, but he's up at the count of 5. And the referee stops the fight. So he was unjustly stopped. So going into the rematch, it's like, we've seen what happened in the first fight. If he loses this second one, Bellew's done. First time my career was on the line. Second time my career is on the line, is going into, after Ovill McKenzie, then I run another rematch I had a disaster with Isaac Chilemba. First fight to draw. I lose the rematch to Isaac Chilemba, I'm done.
Yeah.
My career's on the line, that's the second time. I then go into, for the third time, my career's on the line against Nathan Cleverly. I lose the Nathan Cleverly match, I'm done. And in the background, I've got a career slot in the movie Creed. And I refused to sign the contract until the Nathan Cleverly fight was over.
Really?
If I lose to Nathan Cleverly in that rematch, I don't do the movie Creed. And I've got the contract on my table at the house, and I'm refusing to sign. I've got MGM down my back and Warner Brothers saying, you need to sign this. And I'm saying, I'm not signing nothing until this fight's over. So Kugler, Michael B. Jordan, and Sly Stallone sat there and watched that fight from America. They were made up, and then literally...
No pressure.
I was on the phone to them after it and said, I'm going to do the movie. They were over the moon. So that was the third time my career's on the line.
What about in between the Cleverly rematch? You went to Canada and fought the big punch in Stevenson.
Adonis Stevenson. That was tough.
Was there any pressure going into that one?
Yeah, because I knew I was dead at the weight.
Right, okay.
So I knew I had 2 rounds in me at best. I thought that was enough and I could chin him, but it wasn't. He was better than me on the night. He was stronger. He was so strong. He was one of the biggest punchers.
He was awkward as well, wasn't he? Like, he had a sort of unorthodox style.
Southpaw, and had dynamite in his left hand. It wasn't the nicest person in the world. He was an absolute scumbag, if I'm being totally honest. But he was dangerous. He was a good fighter, really good. So I wouldn't say so much my career was on the line there, but you see, I knew if I lose, I've got to start again. I've got to recreate myself. I've got to literally start again and literally just get it going. You know, that was tough. That was really hard. That's the lowest point of my career. I think that's the lowest point of my life, to be honest. Losing to Adonis Stevenson, crying myself to sleep in a bed in Canada in a hotel on my own. I lose that fight and I just cry myself to sleep because I think I've been at this 10 years now. This is my second world title attempt. I've failed and I've got nowhere to go. I've got to reincarnate myself. I've got to come out and make noise. So after I'd lost, I wake up on the Sunday, Sky Sports cameras in my face on Sunday morning in Canada. What are you going to do? And I said, I need to fight Nathan Cleverly in a rematch. And then I like the touch paper for that. And then it kicks off. So, yeah, really, really difficult. So that was, I'd say, really, really hard time in my life at that point. But then moving up in weight, that's when I start realising, I start feeling good again.
Yeah.
Because then the knockouts come. I go into the first fight with Valery Brudov. I knock him out. I stop him with a left hook. He snaps his ankle, trying to get up off the floor. He's that concussed. In the 10th, then I go in and fight someone else in a warm-up, and then I go into the Nathan Cleverly rematch. My career's on the line again. I lose this fight, I'm done.
You've gone from there, Stevenson, rock bottom, you're thinking, to back up there.
I'm up, yeah. I'm amongst it again, and then this fight's now big. It's on Sky Sports box office. You think, I win this, I'm getting a world title fight to cruiserweight, because we're both of us in the top 5 of the world titles. And no one knows about Creed. No one knows anything about it, because I've told you I'm not signing it if I don't win. I wins the fight. The fight's a horrific fight. He knows this time. He gets in the ring with me and he knows I'm fighting me proper weight this time. I'm not going to tire. I'm physically stronger than him. I'm a better boxer than him. So he just jabs and moves. When a world-class fighter gets in the ring, and he was a world-class fighter, to be fair, he won a world title, he defended it on multiple occasions. When a world-class fighter gets in the ring, if he wants to survive, no one's knocking him out. I could get in the ring tomorrow with any heavyweight in the world and I can survive 12 rounds tomorrow. I know how to survive, I know what to do. I know how to be clever and smart. And he got in the ring with me that night to survive, which was so disappointing. Just jab, move on the back foot, jab, move on the back foot. Never got into one exchange with me all night. And it was a disaster. And Eddie was absolutely furious. And I felt for him. You know, I really did feel for him. But there's nothing I can do. I can't make the lad fight. He didn't want to know, and that's just the way it goes. So, unbelievable feeling for me. I've got my revenge. I've got it back. The only person who's one out of the two people who've defeated me in my career, and I've avenged it. So at this stage now, I'm thinking, I'm ready. Let's go. Eddie just didn't want to know. So I said to Eddie after the fight, I'm going away for a few months. I went away for 3 months, lived in Philadelphia and shot the movie Creed. Came back, and that's when I think Eddie's loyalty was tested to me. That's why I trust Eddie.
Yeah.
In boxing, he's someone I trust, and he's someone I care about as well. So when I came back, he could have said, Tony, I've got nothing for you. He didn't. He gave me an 8-rounder on a Josh Warrington undercard in Leeds. Fought that 8-rounder. Then fought a 10-rounder. I fought the 10-rounder first in Liverpool. Eubank back in. I was on antibiotics, walking to the fucking ring. Wasn't well, got a bug in the last week before the fight. Got rid of Eubank back in the 10th round. Then got an 8-rounder. Won that against Keela Koulis. And then Eddie gave me, that's when he threw me to the Wolves. So I was furious with him for this next. So I was really grateful to him for looking out for me and looking after me, giving me the 2 comeback fights after the Creed movie. He then phones me up and he says, listen, I said, I want the next fight to be for the European title. I want to go the old tradition who's only British Commonwealth European champion. He said, okay, I've got you the European title.
No biggie.
Yeah, listen, you've done it yourself. Don't worry about that. We know that. It's not about you.
Big punchers like us too. Going the traditional route. No biggie.
So I'm a boxing, I don't want to say historian, but I love boxing. I know the game inside out. It's nothing I don't know. So I thought, get the European title over the line. At the time, there was a guy knocking around him, right? Former European champion. I just lost a WBC World Title fight to Gregory Droz, the Russian. His name was Mateusz Masternak. He's still around now.
Yeah.
So me and Mateusz Masternak face off for the European title. I was furious because I was thinking, I'm ranked in the top 5 or 10 of the governing bodies. I'm due a world title fight for my 3rd crack at a world title, and now at my natural weight where I want to be. And I said, Eddie, you know the movie Creed's coming out. It's coming out in February or March next year. He said, Tone, if you can't beat Mateusz Masternak, you're not going to be a world champion.
No pressure.
And I was furious. I said, you cheeky bastard. You've got the cheek. He offered me okay money. I was furious. He said, Tone, this isn't my bill, it's AJ's bill. It was AJ's first time on box office against Dillian White. 0-2, and he said, you're going to be chief support. I'll offer you this money. He said, I can't be a penny more. He said, I'll give you a little bit more for sponsorship. I'll get you the sponsor. And I was like, you cheeky bastard, I can't believe you're doing this to me. And he just went, Tone, I've invested a lot in you. You need to beat him. And then I'll believe you can become a world champion. Went into the Mateusz Masternak fight and had an absolute gut-wrench war. Was miles ahead after 7 or 8 rounds. It was getting too easy, so I switched off. I let him get himself back in between rounds 7 and 9. And then it took a bit of an effort. He scratched 2 of my eyeballs. He was dirty. He was horrible, mate. He was game as anything. Really tough, really game. I nearly stopped him in the 12th. I hit him with a left hook on his forehead. Nailed him hard, and his legs went like jelly. It's one of the smartest things I've ever seen a fighter do. He hugged me, and then he put his leg around my leg and tried to trip me up with a judo thing. And I was like, you absolute scumbag. And then he went on his knees and took down. I thought, oh my God, it's really smart. I mean, it shows you the experience. They have 40 fights. So I got through. I glided through. After the fight, 2 hands damaged. I've got a picture of me sitting there with the European title over my shoulder. My 2 hands are completely black and blue, and my 2 eyes are completely closed. But I'd won a European title. Now, I'm thinking now, it might not go for me in my career. I might just be that British Commonwealth European champion. And if I am, I've done well.
Imagine that kid that starts out, you take that all day long, wouldn't you?
That kid in Rotunda, I'm happy. I still think I can win a world title. I'm backing myself and I believe in myself. But the worst case scenario is I've been British Commonwealth and European champion. Well done, lad. Pat yourself on the back. I didn't do that many times in my career. Barry Hearn comes into the dressing room after the fight. He gives me a slap on the face and he said, I didn't think it, but you loudmouth scouse fucker, you can win a world title. Your next fight's going to be for the world title.
Ooh.
I says, okay. Eddie phones me up in the February. He says to me, I've got good news for you. I've got a world title fight for you. Okay, I said, who is it and where? He said, it's in Vegas. He said, it's on an Al Heyman show and it's against a Bearbit Shumanov for the WBA regular title. So I've gone to him, do us a favour, mate. There's belts in Costco worth more than that WBA regular title. I said, if I want something like that, I'll just go down to Matalan, fight the security guard and then walk out of there with a belt. And he went to me, really? And I went, Ed, you said you get me a world title fight. Get me a world title fight, mate. And he leaves it alone, comes back 3 or 4 weeks later. Right, I've got good news and bad news. Go on. He said, the good news is I've got you the WBC World Title fight. I said, okay, well, there can't be bad news. He said, the bad news is, and everyone keeps telling me this, he never knew who he was at the time. He said, people are going on about this with Lunga Makabu. That's who you're going to fight. And I went, you what? Just for everyone who knows, no one really knew who Lunga Makabu was. I did, because I knew every cruiserweight in the world. I knew who the Danger Man was. I knew who everything was. I was hoping to get Denis Lebedev, maybe for the IBF or something for the WBC. I knew there were people I could outbox, people I could get rid of. Lunga Makabu was the most avoided man in the world. He was Gregory Droz's mandatory challenger for 12 months. Gregory Droz got an injury. Supposedly it was going to be, he was out for 2 years. Knew exactly how long the injury was going to be for. Never came back to boxing. Didn't face Lunga Makabu. Lunga Makabu was but the number 1 challenger. I was the number 2 or 3 challenger. The WBC officially said they'll sanction the fight Bellew v Makabu. It can't be anybody else. Makabu has got to fight for the world title in his next fight. I begged and pleaded with Eddie, can we get a different opponent? He's basically a carbon copy of Adonis Stevenson, but heavier. A southpaw, short, massive puncher with the left hand, and is relentless at looking for the knockout. He just kept giving me nightmares. When the build-up to the fight, I kept having dreams I got knocked out in the second round. Just couldn't stop. I had the same dream, just kept reoccurring every other night for 7-8 weeks. I just kept dreaming I got sparked by Lunga Makabu. It didn't help, and it intensified the dream even more when we got Goodison Park over the line. I've been telling people since I was 15 years old, I'm going to win a WBC World Title at Goodison Park. There's never been a fight at Goodison Park.
Incredible.
People in the gym know. Everyone around me knows. Anthony Fowler was in the gym once. I was having an argument with another boxer. And he was like, how do you know you're going to win a world title? You're an ABA champion and what? He said, how can you say, I'm going to win a WBC World Title at Goodison Park? And Anthony Fowler can tell anyone. He knows he was there. And he wasn't even in our gym. He was just in there sparring for Golden Gloves. So I'm absolutely petrified because since 15 years of age, I've been telling everyone this story. If I lose this fight, not only my career is on the line, my soul is on the line because I'll never go back. I'm a mad Everton fan who's been going to Goodison Park every other week since he was 10, 11 years of age. I get knocked out in Goodison Park. I can never go back even to watch Everton because I'm a bullshitter. Everything I said I'd do, I haven't done. I've been chinned in Goodison Park. I've done to all my people. I've made all this commotion, all this noise to get the fight there. Bleed now, Matchroom had lost a fortune to put the fight on there. And it was serious pressure, like buckling pressure. I've never felt pressure like that, ever.
Do you think you needed that, though? Like every training session, you're training scared. You're giving it more.
The last 4 sparring sessions, I sparred scared of getting injured. And then I got an injury. With 2 weeks to go, I got I fractured or removed me floating rib. I detached me floating rib around the back of my rib cage. I was in agony, couldn't spar 2 weeks before the fight. It was a disaster. So I was in a hyperbaric chamber every single day for the last 2 weeks building up to the fight. I couldn't pull out. If I had pulled out, it's getting stuck in Echo Arena. It's not going to be Goodison Park, the one place I dreamed of. So I couldn't pull out, couldn't reschedule it. No one, to be fair, the injury never got outside the camp, which I was made up about and I was happy about. It stayed in camp. But it was so nerve-wracking. And then the worst part about it was my kids had never been to a fight before. My eldest son was 10 years old. I get to the arena 3 hours before. I never get there that early. I got there 3 hours before because I wanted to feel it, look around, have a look and see what the ring looked like in the middle of Goodison Park. And I heard, Dad. I thought, that didn't half sound like my son. I'm at the top of the steps now where you come out to dressing rooms. And I heard Dad and I thought, I told her, I want my son there, but I cannot see him before the fight. I can't even lay eyes on him. And I thought, that sounds like my son, but I definitely told her he better not be there. I can't see you and I can't see him. They're the only weakness in my life, my kids and family. So he said, Dad, I've heard it again. And I thought, it can't be, but I'm going to turn around now and look at it. I turn around at my little boy. And I say 10 years old, and I've never believed my kid should be at boxing fights because dangerous things happen in boxing fights. People don't make it home. People like to take the piss out of me saying, Tony Bellew just wants to make it home safe to his wife and kids. But listen, some lads get in a boxing ring and they don't make it home. And I always knew I could be one of them because I will go that far. If I've got to get, I've shown it all throughout my career. I'm carrying on no matter what, with 20 stitch gashes over my eye, being dropped on the floor flat on my face, being hurt on multiple. I will carry on fighting. I don't care what you do to me. If I can, I will. And I didn't ever want my son to see me like that. Dad should be superheroes to the kids. So when I turned around seeing him, I just remember running. I didn't even say nothing to him. I just looked at him, ran down the steps and was crying my eyes out in the dressing room. This is an hour and a half, 2 hours before the biggest fight of my life, and I'm in tears sobbing in the dressing room because I just shouldn't have put him there. Dave couldn't believe it. Dave's head's gone now. My little coach, Dave Calder, little legs, and then my team just are like, they're trying to get around me, and they're just like, I'm just like, I don't know how I got myself together.
You must be so proud of yourself when you look back at all of those things, like the pressure of the occasion, the football club, the kids. I guess it shows you, that you have got a big set of bollocks, that you can perform under the most highest level of stress. And who knows, if you didn't have those stressful things on the line, that poignant moment where you see your son, it may have gone the other way. You've obviously proved that you perform better the more stressful the situation is.
Yeah, I think I look back at my life and think chaos. I've been surrounded by chaos and I've done well in it. And when things are calm and then when things are easy, I don't do great because I take things for granted. So yeah, it's a fair point. I've never looked at it like that. But with you pointing it out, yeah, it makes sense. It's just, that was a really difficult moment. I mean, that 20 minutes in that dressing room and I remember the lads telling everyone to get out. And they see me in tears in the dressing room, just leave the dressing room. I know the lads were warming up and stuff like that. And I was inconsolable for a bit. Then it got me head around it and I thought, you hear fighters always saying, I do it for me family, I do it for this, and I do it for me missus, and I didn't. I done it for me.
Yeah.
I didn't chase this world title. I had this dream of being a WBC World Champion before my kids came along. I had this dream of fighting at Goodison Park before my wife came into the picture. I weren't doing this for them. I was doing it for me. And that's where I got my head back around on it. I don't care about anything else. I was so selfish when I was in camp. I'm a bit ashamed now, and it's very shameful to look back. I've gone into fighting thing. I'm willing to die here. I've got 3 kids in the house. I'm willing to die literally to win this fight. What kind of maniac is willing to do that, knowing you've got 3 kids depending on you in the house? But I was every single time.
So you're champion of the world. You've realised the dream.
Yeah.
I mean, it's remarkable. It is what, you talk about you getting into actors, what films are made of. You
felt when you win that world title, when you win that world title, when you had your hand raised, when in that world title fight, the emotions are nuts. Like the first round, I'm cruising, I'm flying, and I'm hitting him. I've hit him to the body, he's made the noise. I've whacked him good out of the body. Then out of the blue, he just turns a left hand over, snaps me nose, and drops me, flattens me. I'm on my back. I only remember the end of the first round and Dave Caldwell, little leg, saying to me, you got greedy, screaming at me in that fucking Sheffield voice. And I just thought, I know I'm a fat bastard naturally. Of all the times to call me greedy, you don't do that in the corner at the end of the first round. I've just been flattened. The truth be known, I actually thought I knocked Usyk out in the second round.
Really?
I don't remember the second round. It's gone from my memory. I was concussed. I got through on autopilot. Whatever Dave said, or I don't know. I'll never know. I don't even know what he said to me at the end of round 2. The next thing I have that in my own memory is I've hit him in round 3. I don't remember the whole of round 2 or the end of round 2, the in between. I just remember hitting him in round 3. I touched him with the left hook on the top of the head. I chased him, and then I hit him with a punch that would have knocked the horse out. I hit him so hard. Like he was out for 5-10 minutes on the floor, unconscious, fast asleep. But the relief I felt, as you know, the relief of, do you know what the first thing that comes to my mind was? I'm not a bullshitter. I've done it. The British, Commonwealth, European, WBC World Champion at Goodison Park, I've done it. It's over.
So at that point then, you've realised a dream, and I can't really remember. I remember clearly you winning the title, but I can't remember the
in-between period.
The aftermath of it. Was there... What percentage would you say you was contemplating retirement?
If I lose that fight...
No. You've won.
Okay.
So you won because in many...
It is on the line again, like I said to you before.
You're acting, you've earned decent money. And
it's not life-changing money. Still got a mortgage.
Okay.
I'm world champion.
So you was always going to fight again. There was...
On Monday, so I fight on a bank holiday Sunday. I've now done the movie Creed. I've got a couple of quid in the bank. I've still got a hefty mortgage. It's not paid off. Got a couple of quid in the bank. We've got a little bit of savings. At this stage, I'm buying a couple of properties here and there. I've now gone... The missus woke up on Monday morning. She's gone, you've done it. Well done. It's over now, though, isn't it?
Oh, she thought you was going to jack it in. That was it.
She thought once I've won that WBC title,
right.
It's over.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's it. In her mindset, that's always the plan. That's what I've always told her. And I'm old school. People will call it barbarian-like, but I just believe a man takes care of the family and the wife and provides, and that's what I've always done. That's my job. You take care of the kids and you do the day-to-day things with the children. I'm here when you need me. I'm always there and I'm always around. I'm a proper dad, but she's been a full-time parent since them kids were born. And I take care of everything else. You don't have to worry about nothing financially or stress or pressure. That's my job. You've got enough pressure with these kids. So on the Monday morning, I've gone, she's thinking it's over. I'm going to retire next. It's all done. Well done. You've done brilliant. And I've gone, listen, girl, we're so far away from financial security. It's unbelievable. She went, what do you mean? I was like, I've not been boxing for finances at this stage. I'm fighting to chase my dream, and my dreams that I've achieved my dreams. So what I will promise you is there's not much longer left in my career, and now it's all about money. It's about nothing else but money. I don't care about legacy. I don't care about nothing else. I care about paper, get paid. At this stage now, I've done a lot. Eddie phones me up. Got to look for the first defence. Got to get it in quick, pretty quick, back to back. I fought on May the 29th, 2016 for the world title. We start scheduling a defence for October. The couple of names that were on the thing, one was the European champion. He just knocked out Enzo McAnally, and Enzo McAnally was a friend of mine. And I was like, let me get him back. His name evades me now, Polish guy, good fighter. It wasn't Glavatsky, it was someone else. Anyway, he just said to me, no. Eddie said, no, I don't like that fight. And I said, okay. I said, who do you like? He said, I like BJ Flores fight. And I said, I'm not going with him. He's been calling me out. He turned up at the Creed premiere. He's a typical American. He's got so much talk. He talks a great one, but he's got no substance. He said, well, Tony's never been stopped. He lost to Danny Green for a world title. He's been in really hard fights and he's pushed world champions all the way. He's just been short of winning a world title. I said, I'm not doing it. At this stage, I'm now having back and forths on social media with David Haye. David Haye's had a comeback and he's saying, I will baptise anyone from cruiserweight to heavyweight. I will knock anybody out. I'm the best in the world. I'm coming back to win the world heavyweight title. I've bet. Obviously, I'm could do.
I've bet.
I've bet straight away. He's got me on a hook.
That's not like you, son.
I know. I don't respond to people usually. So he's got me on the hook and we're having back and forth on social media. It's not gathered any momentum yet because David thinks I'm not really a financially viable fight for him. He doesn't see any profit in fighting me. He thinks it's going to be a mismatch. So I've gone to Eddie. I'll tell you what, I'll do your deal. I'll fight BJ Flores if you make sure David Haye's commentating ringside. And he said, why do you want David Haye ringside? Don't you worry about that. It's the only fight I ever had in my career where I went the ring with an agenda. Anytime I go the ring, usually I'm going thinking this could be the last time I ever get in the boxing ring. I know full well against BJ Flores, I'm going to make everyone walk out this arena and make me want to see, not him, fight his mate. And him and David, I used to call them the nightclub buddies. David and BJ Flores. I went in the ring and I boxed dreadful that night. I just had a fight. I just drew BJ Flores into a one-on-one scrap, a war, and thankfully I chinned him. Could have went the other way, could have chinned me, because I was so open and so stupid with the way I fought him. I gave him every opportunity under the sun that I'm a better fighter than him, 10 times up, better boxer, technically better, bigger puncher. But when you're going in there, you don't give someone like, don't forget, he's trying to fulfill his lifelong dream. I've got the WBC belt around my waist. I'm the champ. I'm giving him his opportunity to become a champion. And I gave him so many opportunities, but thankfully it worked out. I chinned him. I hit him low, which he whinged about. Everyone gets it low at some point in a fight. Don't look at a referee when you've been hit low. Couldn't care less. I'll wallop you again. Chinned him, got rid of him, and then I just went straight for David A. I knocked BJ down about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
In between the knockdowns, I'm going over to David. I'm going to smash you next. I'm going to punch your fucking head in. He's laughing, as David does. He's cool. He's cool as anything, to be fair. In the end, I kicked the Toblerone at him. A sponsored Toblerone on the side of the ring. Lands on his chest. He then stands up. The fight's over now. I've jumped out the ring. Now, there's where people think, is it made up? Is it staged? Now, nothing's staged. Nothing in my career. The only thing staged was the movie Creed. That's the only thing in my life that's staged. I've kicked the Toblerone. I've jumped out the ring. Now, in my tiny mind, I'm thinking, I don't even know if I'm thinking this. I'm hoping somewhere in the back of my tiny little mind, the security better do their job and get in between me and him, because the last thing I need is to be punched in the face, and David will punch you in the face, as he's shown with Derek Chisora in a press conference, to be punched in the face off him with no gloves on. Because there's only going to be one winner if he hits me with no gloves on. And I've got gloves on, by the way. So I've jumped out the ring, gone for him, and the security, brilliant, well done security, they've done the job they got between us. Everyone left the arena that night. No one spoke about the destructive job I've just done on BJ Flores. No one said, wow, the BJ Flores never been stopped. I knocked him out and stopped him brutally in 4 rounds. No one spoke about that. Everyone just said, I want to see Bellew fight Haye now. I'd done my job. That's all as I needed to do. And I'd done the job, sold it. Got a phone call from David A that night. This is nuts. This is nuts, but we're going to do it. And I was like, okay, well, I don't believe you because you've got so many options on the table. He had AJ on the table. He had so many different options he could take. Because David A, when he's active and out there fighting, is one of the biggest names in the country.
Yeah.
He's huge, mate.
No doubt.
He's box office gold.
Yeah.
You ever remember Red Dwarf, the programme? Do you remember H? Used to have the H.
Yeah.
Dave, that was David A to me, but he had a pound sign on the front of his head. Yeah. That's exactly how I looked at David when I was fighting. So I knew David inside and out. I've always known I could beat him. I sparred him when I first won my first ABA title and he was getting ready for Mark Hobson. I knew him inside out. I knew everything about his career. I knew how he moved. I knew his twitches. I knew his patterns. I knew everything. So after the BJ Flores fight, I get a phone call offering me the David A fight. This now didn't come from David personally. This come from his team. And I got offered a lot of money. And the guy who phoned me up was serious. He said to me, at this stage in my career, I've made my first defence of the title. I've done all right financially now. I've still got a big mortgage. I could have paid my mortgage off with the title defence money, and the winning world title money, but it's not big money. This man phones me up and offers me £1.6 million to face David A on BT box office, and I said no. And he said, why are you saying no? He said, because I know you've not got a contract with Eddie Hearn. I said, no, I haven't got a contract with Eddie Hearn. But you know what he's got? He's got my word. And we shook hands. And he said, if you're not happy with me, you can leave. And if I'm not happy with you, I can let you go. He said, no problem. I phoned Eddie. And I said, Ed, this man's phoned me up and he's offered me 1.6 million. He said, he'll get me it tomorrow. He'll give me it in advance. And Ed said to me, fair play to him, Tony, you've got to take it. He said, because I can't offer you that kind of money. And I said, I'm not going to take it. And he said, you have to take it, mate. He said, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You're not going to get offered this anywhere else. I says, well, listen, now I know David's serious and really wants to face me. He's going to play to our rules as well. At this stage, David A refused to speak to Eddie Hearn. He refused to deal with him. So he didn't get on. He didn't like him, as we see him from the first press conference. So I know now I'm in with a chance. And at this time, David's still on Channel Dave. For those who don't know what Dave is, it's what I watch when I want to watch Bullseye. Look at what you could have won. So he's on Dave and I'm on Sky Sports. And now after that world title fight, I'm everywhere now. I'm big. I've achieved my lifelong dreams. I'm flying. I'm doing really well. And after what I've done at the BJ Flores, people want to see me and David Haye. In the end, we worked out a deal. I agrees to fight David Haye. He's the boss of the fight. He gets the lion's share of the promotion. Eddie backs me, and even when we agreed everything for the fight, Eddie says the contract. He said, "I think I can get you a bit more." I said, "I'm just going to sign it." You'd have thought I was fighting Tina Turner when you seen the contract on that fight. You must be seated at the press conference. All I said to Eddie was, "Can I pick me gloves? Can I pick me colour shorts?" He said, "Yes, you can do both." I said, "Is there a rematch clause?" And he went, "No, he doesn't want one." I said, "Okay, sound. You agree your fee with Eddie and Matchroom, what they're going to take from your percentage." I said, "You think I'm going to lose this fight, don't you?" And he was pretty honest. He went, "Yeah." He said, "I don't think you can beat him." He said, he said to me, "I think you're the best cruiserweight in the world right now, but I think he's one of the best heavyweights." I said, "Okay, well, you're going to take less money." And he said, "Okay, I agree." We shook hands on that. He took less money off me than he should have. Agreed all that sorted it. I told him, "I promise you I'm going to beat him." He just couldn't. He wasn't having it.
How was sort of your nerves, pressure, all those sort of feelings going into that fight with Haye in comparison to the Makabu fight?
I was happy.
Was you really?
So happy. Fighting at heavyweight, never had to make cruiserweight.
Yeah, what was that like?
Brilliant. If anything, I came in too heavy for the first fight. I was stupid. Just took the piss a bit. I lost 4 pounds on one of the weigh-in. I should have weighed in at 15. It should have been 15 and a half. I lost 4 pounds in a hot bath on one of the weigh-ins. I thought, "You stupid plonker." I've never looked aesthetically great at cruiserweight. I looked really good against Usyk on the scales because I had to boil back down.
Yeah.
But I never looked aesthetically great, only at light heavyweight. And when I woke up on the morning of the Haye fight for the first fight at the weigh-in, I looked at myself in the mirror and thought, "You look fucking dreadful." So I tried to lose 4. Well, I did lose 4 pounds of water in the hot bath, yeah. And I still look shit. I looked even worse because my eyes just started to go drawn then. I felt great though. When I got in the ring on the fight night, I felt great, and I knew my plan was, and I had 2 or 3 different game plans against David Haye, but the most important thing going into the fight, and it always is when you face David Haye, there's 2 ways to beat David Haye. It's quite simple. You can either make him miss and make him pay, or you can absorb everything he's got and come back.
But that's dangerous.
Now, I knew I couldn't absorb everything he's got because I know he's the biggest puncher I've ever faced in my life. I sparred him when I was ABA champion for the first time. I was 20 years of age. It's the hardest I've ever been hit in my life. People say, "Well, you've been stopped." I was fresh as a daisy. This lad hit me with 18-ounce gloves on, with an uppercut I didn't see coming, and for no reason at all. I hope these cameras catch.
He donkey kicked.
I look out like that and I've done it. My back leg just kicked out, and I went to him, "Great shot." And I remember him looking at me as if to say, Adam Bood knows this, he was there. He had no idea how I took it. He hit me on the button clean. Good shot, and walked at him. Next round, something else happened, never happened before, I'd seen before. He was sparring me and David Price, getting ready for Mark Hobbs, and David Price hit David Haye on the chin so hard with the right hand, he spun his whole body around 360 degrees.
David Haye span.
David Price hit him with the right hand, boom. He hit him on the chin here, and he span his whole body. Oh, and he was dancing in the ring. At this stage, David Haye used to pay us £1,000 if you could knock him down. I've screamed at Price, "You fucking jump all over him, there's $1,000 on the table." Price, he's just so nice, isn't he? He just looked at him and said, "Well, look what I've done. Wow, I've rocked him. He's rocked to his boots." Next round, I gets in, bang, left hook on the head, he takes a knee. And I've gone, "I've dropped you, I want me money." He said, "No, it's me hamstring. I've hit me hamstring." I said, "You're full of shit. I want me dough. I've just dropped you." I never got the money, but obviously I got it back in the long run. So I'd had this experience with David as a youngster. I knew everything he was good at. I also wasn't naive and stupid enough to know he could iron me out. With 10-ounce gloves on, that uppercut would render me unconscious. There's no 2 ways about it. So going into the fight, I was used to fighting light heavyweights, cruiserweights, who are now quicker than David Haye. David Haye's greatest asset is his speed and his explosiveness. His reflexes are shit hot, but they're on the dwindle.
Yeah.
Once you're at 30 or 32, they start to dwindle. But his explosive power and his actual punch power, they're still in full active. They're active. They're firing really well. So I goes in, and I knows as soon as I get past 5 rounds, you're finished. And in all due respect, after the first fight, after 5 rounds have passed, just watch the fight back on YouTube, look at it if you want. I say to Dave, I've got him 3-2 up. After 5 rounds, I've won 2, he's won 3 rounds. And I say to him in the ring, I look at him and I go, you're absolutely fucked now. You're goosed. I'm going to finish you, because he deteriorates massively in the second half of the fight. You just couldn't believe what happens next. His Achilles just collapses and bursts and explodes on him, which I just thought of all the time. But then once again, like I said, everything happens for a reason. I've boxed brilliant in the first 5 rounds. I've made him miss. I've made him pay. I'm skillful. I'm slipping. I'm shotting. I'm giving him fire back. And then in the 6th round, his Achilles snaps. And I'm just like, in hindsight, I'd wound him up so much. Like, I'd really put this has gripped now the nation. This fight's everywhere. Yeah. Everyone wants to see it. I'd wound him up. He punched me at the first press conference. David always thought, when I'd agreed to take the fight, we had the conversation the night I signed the contract. And he said, I'm happy because you and your family are financially secure now. I said, thank you. I said, but understand, I'm not taking this for the finance. He said, Tony, you are. I said, I'm not. I'll speak to you at the end of the fight. We never spoke another word. First press conference comes. I wasn't supposed to speak over him at first, and I was supposed to be seated when he walked in the press conference. I stood up, and as soon as he started talking, I spoke over him every single time. And I asked him why he was wearing headbands. The first time we come face to face, he looked in my eyes and I said, I'm going to smash your fucking face in. And he was absolutely, when you get closer, when you look at them in the eyes, you know they're not lying. And you know that they're saying, they believe every word they're saying. And he looked at me and I know the shock on his face. He thought, you cheeky bastard, you really think you can win? Like, David looks at himself, and he should look at himself because he's an amazing fighter. He's better than me. I'm happy to say that because his achievements are greater than mine. But his style is made for man. I'm always going to beat him. I don't care what people go to me now. You wouldn't have beat this version. I will beat him because I can make him miss. It's quite simple. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. So when I said to him, I'm going to beat you, he looked in my eyes and thought, you genuinely believe that? And then as I've shoved him, he punched me on the face. He punched me on the chin. I fucking jarred me jaw a little bit. He can't half punch, and he clipped me. He literally clipped me with his knuckles. And he that done him. From that moment on, he wanted to kill me. Like he literally wanted to hurt me, and I'd got to him so much. I know that because I've spoke to him since. We're mates. We speak.
Yeah,
I get on with him. I think the world of him. I love David A because without David A coming into my life,
it was one of the biggest British rivals.
Yeah,
the way it bubbled, and like you say, it captivated not just the boxing fan, not just the sports fan, the lady next door knew that fight was happening. It was so big. And look, I know there was an injury, and it wouldn't have been the way that you wanted to win the fight. But
it was a disaster.
But that set up a narrative to then have the rematch.
Well, this is where I say to you, this my career's been on the line 5 times, because when David suffers that Achilles injury, his corner should have just pulled him out. Because they had zero respect for me, and because they had zero thought that I could win the fight, they thought he could still chin me with a ruptured Achilles. I punished him, and I mean hurt him for the next 6 rounds. I stopped him in the 11th. I butchered him. I hit him to the body. He must have had cracked ribs. I punched him all over the ring, and he is the bravest man I've ever faced because he took it, or because in the build-up, all as I said to him is, don't you quit when it gets hard, because I promise you it's going to get hard. Don't you spew it. Because I knew him. I told him when we done the gloves are off and Johnny's in between us, I said to him, I've seen you spew it already 3 times in your life. He said, no, you haven't. I said, I've seen you spew it, kid. He said, well, yeah. I said, you spewed it in Belfast against Solis. I said, you hit him with the uppercut. He took your shot. He came back and you spewed it. I said, you spewed it against Carl Thompson again. I said, I've watched you spew it, David. I said, you spewed it against Klitschko. I said, all these occasions I'm giving you, and you've spewed it. I haven't spewed it. But he was like, he couldn't believe I knew so much. And like when I said to him about the Solis fight, I think it was Solis. Yeah, it was Solis. in the World Championships.
In the World Championships, in the final,
World Championships in the final.
Didn't he hurt Solis, or he dropped him?
He hits him with an uppercut, and Solis, like the Matrix, he goes right back and nearly goes down, but he comes back. He gives him a standing count, and he's out on his feet.
And he takes his foot off the gas, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Haye?
What he does is he can't believe he's took the big shot. He's took it perfect. And when I said this to him, the gloves are off, he couldn't believe it. And then I started to not belittle him, but then I started to question his career. And if you can ask a fighter face-to-face questions about his career and he hasn't got an answer instantly for them, he starts questioning himself. So I'd literally done him mentally. And he says this now, that I've done him mentally. He said, mind games, he's brilliant at them. So after the first fight's over, and because I questioned his bravery, he stuck it out. If I wouldn't have took the approach I'd done, I think he'd have just gone, we're going to fight another day. I'm stopping in the 6th round. Everyone can see me Achilles is snapped. We'll have a rematch. Because I've given him a hide, and now half of the public are on his side for showing such bravery. Pretty similar to how Chris Eubank Sr. done it with Carl Thompson all them years ago. The public warmed to him because he shows such bravery. So now all I'm getting is abuse. And people saying to me, you'd only beat him because he had one leg. You wouldn't really beat a David Day. So I'm walking to the ring for the biggest rematch of my life. And everyone's saying, you'd only beat him because he had one leg. And so if I now lose this, I'm a laughing stock. Because it's right. I only beat him because he had one. I know you know that as a boxer, but for the public, and so he's a huge favourite going into the first fight. And guess what? For the rematch, he's a big favourite again.
If anything, you have a bit of a touch if he beats you.
No,
Because then you got trilogy, you get more money.
I know, but I didn't look at it like that at this stage. Now I'm in the darkest period of my life.
Yeah.
I'm in a really dark place.
The tragedy that you suffered, you lost your brother-in-law in the build-up to that rematch.
I was in it. David had pulled out already. We fought originally on March the 4th in the first fight. We were scheduled to have the rematch in the December 9 months later. The rematch he pulled out of this time, he'd not just torn his Achilles had fully healed, his ruptured Achilles, he'd now torn his bicep. So then the rematch now happens in May the following year. So people don't realise the time I gave him to recover.
Yeah.
You know, a full what, 18 months and a bit more. So he's fully over all the injuries. This time he's taking me seriously, he knows how good I am. And going into the rematch, everyone's expecting him to blow me away again. Just watch the press conferences back. Everything I said, I'd done. I told him exactly how I'd beat him. I said to him, I'd beat him quicker this time because he'll show me respect. He won't be so gung-ho. And everything went perfectly to plan. I think I put that down to the best performance of my whole career.
And did you know, with what happened to your brother-in-law?
Yeah.
I guess that's a very proud moment for you, being able to dedicate that win.
Yeah.
For him.
Yeah. It was. He was there to watch me win the world title, achieve my dreams. Seeing the first defence. Yeah. That night going to the ring against David Day, just so. I left the seat. His dad and his brothers sat there, and there was a spare seat with him. So, really difficult time.
Yeah.
Really hard time. At that moment in my life was chaotic, disaster. If anything, that's the closest I've come to just saying I've had enough of literally everything. That was really hard because my wife was just in bits and I couldn't help her. That was the hardest part of my life. That's been the toughest thing I've ever had to go through. When you lose people, which you know all about, there's no coming back from grief. I've heard broken heart is the hardest thing to get over. That's a load of bollocks. As the heart heals, grief doesn't go away. And that is the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. Seeing my wife cry every day and not being able to stop it and help. Let's say, you've been there. And it's inconsolable. And then once again, I showed how selfish I was. I fucked off to camp. And left home and just went. And I have massive regrets for that, but I gave him my word I'd face him in a rematch and I had to do it.
And then you get the job done, so that put that to bed.
Yeah.
And then, like an absolute nutcase that you are, you drop back down at cruiserweight to face probably will be one of the greatest fighters to ever grace the ring.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to say an Oleksandr Usyk, one of the best ever.
Yeah.
Best ever.
Do you know what? I knew all about him. I went on a GB training camp to Ukraine. So I knew him, I'd sparred with him, I'd been around him. The best part about it was I was retired. So after the David Day rematch, that was in the May. I got married to my missus in the July. been together 20 years and stuff like that, but I just thought I wanted to give her the wedding of her dreams, and I wanted to be officially retired when we get married. I wanted to be over. Got married, goes on our honeymoon, and this is the exact reason why men shouldn't go out, drink alcohol, and have the mobile phone on them. Because I've gone out. Oleksandr Usyk against Gassiev is on the telly in Mykonos. Some fellas telling me, have a look at this. Before I know it, it's on in a bar. And I'm hearing this crazy Ukrainian shouting, I want Bellew next. Yeah, I've had a right few bevies tonight, but if I just, Tony Bellew, I want to face him next. Just look back at his Gassiev interview after the fight, that's who I want to face next. I thought, you cheeky bastard. Like, what? I couldn't believe it. Goes to the toilet, phone's Eddie in. While I'm pissed, Eddie was at my wedding. I've gone to him, listen, do you just see what that cheeky bastard's just said? He's calling me out. Eddie said, Tone, leave it alone. You're retired, you've had a great career, you're financially secure, you've earned a fortune, you know, you've earned more than you could ever have imagined, you've got to double digits on your things. Just leave it alone. There's no need for it. I'm now pissed as a fart. I've gone, listen here, you. If you don't make this fight, I will. At that moment, the phone goes down. The thought of Eddie losing £1, he's made this fight happen. So anyway, I've now woke up on the Sunday morning in Mykonos next to me, missus. Easy. And the rest. I've been drinking and eating everything I want. I am now the size of Johnny Fisher. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about Big John Bosch. I'm in bed. I've got about 15 missed calls off Eddie Hearn. I thought, what's he phoning me for? Why is he phoning me? He knows I'm on my honeymoon. So he's gone there. I've phoned him, I've gone to the toilet, my bird's fast asleep, and I've gone, what the fuck's up with you? What you phoned me for? He said, it's all done. He's agreed it. Now, you what? What's all done? He went, Tone, you told me to make the fight with you and Usyk. I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. He said to me, well, it's all done. He's agreed he'll take whatever you want, whatever's given. I give him a fee. It's all yours, this and that. And he went, we've just got to find a date. And I was like, oh, shit. I've got another 2 days left on me only with my missus. I said, all right, I'll have to speak to you when I get back. Put the phone down. Goes back in the room. Didn't have the bollocks to tell me missus did. And then while we were on the honeymoon, I thought she's just going to lose her rag, and then we're going to have to go home straight away. My missus now feeling guilty. We gets up. We had one lovely last night out, Sunday, and then the Monday. I think we were going home on the Tuesday. She said, I feel really guilty for us having a honeymoon. I think we should take the kids to Portugal. Let's hire a villa and let's go to Portugal. I said, okie doke, love. Gets home, gets the bags packed. We're on our way to Portugal. We're on the plane. And I've gone to my missus. I've got something to tell you, love. She was like, what do you mean? I said, I know you think I'm retired. I said, but this fella's called me out and I can't have it. It's just not happening. I said, he's got all the belts. His name's Oleksandr Usyk. She said, you're the one, you said he's the one who could hurt you. And I said, I said he could. I said he could, he's got a chance. I said, but I've also got a chance of chinning him. And guess what, love? It's for all the belts. Like, there's nothing higher than this. This is beyond me wildest dreams. I've always thought I can be a world champion. I told you I was going to, but this is like dream scenario stuff. I need to take this opportunity. You're a prick. I don't want to speak to her. She's furious. Absolutely furious. Didn't speak to me. For the first 2 days of our trip, I said to her, so I'm taking the fight. There's no ifs or buts. There's no going back. And just to let you know, Dave Coldwell and 2 of the boxers are going to be staying in the villa over the road. I've got them over to start camp straight away. And she was just like, you're going to start camp while me and the kids are here, really? And I said, love, I've got 14 weeks. I'm sorry. I've got to attack the first 2 weeks. I've got to attack the weight on the first 2 weeks in this heat in Portugal. For the 2 weeks in Portugal, I trained like a madman and didn't have a single carbohydrate.
Did you know?
I lost 23 pounds. Brilliant work. So yeah, then I goes into the fight with Usyk, and it's the only time in my whole career I've more than met me match. He was just better than me.
Was he incredible?
Unbelievable. Like, I can't give him high enough praise. I've never faced any. Of what my greatest asset to me boxing brain and the fact that I can adapt and adjust. I'm not aesthetically great to look at. I'm not the quickest. I'm not the strongest, but I've got a really good boxing brain.
And you proved that in the early rounds.
I figured out your weakness and I'll use them against you. So I literally kidded him. I told him the only chance I've got is a puncher's chance. And I made him believe that. And he did believe it. So when he come in to box me, his plan was to just, I've got to negate you and keep you away from me. I boxed him and I was out boxing him. We get to round 6. He hits me with a big left hand on the forehead. And it makes me stumble a little bit. And I felt it. You know, it was really hard shot. But I get to round 7. I'm now exhausted. It took so much energy to do what I'd done to him in the first 6 rounds that I was completely spent. I was done. I went back at the end of round 7. I don't remember anything about round 8. I don't remember nothing. It's gone. I remember another part of my career that's gone in my mind. Wow. And I just went to Dave Caldwell. I am absolutely fucked. He said to me, "Are you tired?" I said, "I am goosed. Absolutely done in." He said, "Tone, you sparred with 3 sparring partners, 4 rounds each, and was cruising." I said, "Dave, I'm exhausted." In the ideal world, your coach puts the towel in, but Dave knows you put the towel in on me, mate, you're probably not making it back to the dressing room yourself. So I don't say that as some hard case or something like that, but I can't go out like that. I've got to go out. So I knew walking out, I don't remember round 8, but I'm going out and I've got nothing left. I'm exhausted, like spent. And I'm exhausted because he made me exhausted. He was that good. The drilling with the footwork that he does, the front foot pressure without even doing it, constantly being in range, it just zapped me. I've never been that tired. I told AJ before AJ fought me the first time, he's gonna make you tired. Trust me. And he didn't understand it. Before the rematch, we had a great chat. And he said, "Tone, I've never been that tired in my life." He does things that make you tired, mate. It's just he manipulates the distance. He manipulates the timing of how it happens. And then he manipulates your thought process of how you're going to attack him. And your mind is working 10 times harder than it's ever worked before to just stay with him. Never mind to get the better of him. I was getting the better of him in the first 6. At the end of round 7, I'm actually ahead on the cards with 2, and I'm judging on the Ukrainian judges' scorecard. I'm drawing after going into the 8th round. It's mad to think that I was doing so well against him.
Yeah.
So it's not mad, but, you know, I went in there with a boxing mindset. If I could go back, I'd go in there more to put the front pressure on and go for him, but I still wouldn't beat him that, if I'm being totally honest.
So you can't remember the end?
No, I don't remember round 8. I don't remember speaking to Sky after. I don't remember speaking to no one. I remember saying that to Dave Caldwell at the end of round 7 in the corner. The next thing I can remember is seeing me missus crying in the changing room.
You can't. In some ways, you can't blame Dave Caldwell.
It's not his fault at all.
Because when you're big punchers like me and you know, you've got to be given the opportunity. But anyway,
yeah, no, he had to listen. He was the best professional boxing coach I ever spent my time with. Being with Dave Caldwell, he was amazing.
Yeah,
he was amazing, mate, and he made me realize how important the defensive side was to my game. So I'm forever in. I wouldn't have won the world title without Dave Caldwell.
I say the same about Tony Sims.
Yeah.
You know, they just knew top coaches know how to get the best out of you. So that's your career is finished. Yeah. And what an exceptional career it is. Beyond your wildest dreams, you've cracked it. You said after you retired, how did you find purpose after the ring? I didn't know who I was after I stopped fighting. You know, these sort of sentences that most, not just fighters, retired sportsmen would say, and women, obviously. Did you find it tough?
Really tough. Struggle. I still struggle now because you've got to remember, I've been doing this all my life. It's all I know. I love fighting.
Yeah.
I've been paid handsomely to do it. And it's all I know. So it was really hard to retire and let go. Very, very tough.
At what point during the retirement process was you okay with not fighting anymore?
I'm still not okay with it now.
Serious?
Yeah.
Really?
I'd have a fight tomorrow. Yeah.
Blimey, it's lucky you didn't lose golf today.
I'd fight tomorrow if I could. But listen, I'm also not stupid. I'm not naive. I know every dog has its day. It'd have to be the right person at the right time, which I've got no intentions of doing. But yeah, I still know I've got something in me. I've got that horrible side in me still. But I don't want it to be, but it's just there. I love fighting. That's all I know.
Well, you did a little bit of pretend fighting, didn't you, as an actor?
Yeah, that was great.
How did you find that whole process?
Doing Creed 1 was hard. I lived in Philadelphia for 3 months alongside Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone and the director Ryan Coogler. Creed 3 was it was different. I went out.
Just want to pick those names up.
Piss off. Doing Creed 3 was different. Michael B. Jordan directing. Had to shoot out there for 2 weeks to Hollywood, to California for a couple of weeks. Then I had to go again to Atlanta for another week. Got to catch up with Cougs again. It was different, but it was okay. It was okay. The movie scene is amazing. It's just brilliant to do. I'd love to do more movies, but you'd have to find the right things to do. So it's just one of them things. It's amazing to do. It's a fantastic experience and one I thoroughly enjoyed and loved.
Nerves-wise, going on to set in comparison to fighting, how did they differ?
Completely different. Choreography in boxing is completely different to boxing in real life. Literally, first time we'd done it, Sly was petrified I was going to catch him with a punch and cut him or whatever. He wants us to do it with 16-ounce gloves on, head guards. Within spending 2 days with Michael B. Jordan, we had 10-ounce gloves on, no head guards, and was grazing each other's face by a couple of centimetres. He's such an amazing athlete.
Okay.
He adapted and he learned.
Videos have circulated online. Did you knock him out?
Let's just say he's a good actor and I slapped him. He's an amazing actor. I think he's one of the best actors in the whole world. He's an amazing.
You still in contact with him?
Yeah, he's my mate.
Yeah.
He's a good lad. He's a diamond.
You've done some reality shows as well.
Unfortunately.
You've jumped into the jungle.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that tough?
Very tough. Lost 10 kilos in there. Found 9 of them now, but I lost 10 in there.
How did that compare to SAS?
SAS was good, but SAS was something I needed to do at the time. And Ant Middleton was really good to me. It was really good for me as well at the time. Because I had long lost Ashley and I was struggling. I was struggling with trying. I just wanted my family to be happy and I want my missus to be happy. Because if that household's happy and my missus happy, I'm happy. If they aren't on it and they're not happy, I'm not happy. And that's no way to live. I went on that show, my house weren't happy, wasn't a happy home. I figured quite a few bits out on that show down to their mentality. Them SAS boys are another breed at another level. They figured me out. They found my weakness. So yeah, brilliant show to do. But you've got to be willing to go through it. I'd literally torn the ligaments in my foot before I'd done that show. I ripped the ligaments out in the May, and I can't remember at what point I'd done the show with SAS, but it was that year. So I completely snapped the ligaments in my foot. My foot was moving on and off my leg. So I had to come back from the injury and then go on and do that show as well. It was hard. And then Joey Essex is one of the best runners I've ever seen in my life. He literally was. Now, that's how me and Lockie met. We were in touch together. We do the Golf Channel Lock and Tea now. Good positives have come from it.
Yeah.
Jungle was completely different. Jungle's not about mental toughness. Jungle's not about physical toughness, which SAS was. How physical it is and how demanding it is. The Jungle's about, can you deal with boredom? That's what it's about, really. The boredom. It's difficult.
I think that from where I am looking in and looking at you, Tony Bellew, I think that for me, it looks as if the toughest part of that process, the stuff that you've done outside of boxing, it's made you very, very famous. And wherever you go now, you get stopped and you're asked for photographs and to be signing things. How have you found that?
When you're boxing, and I don't know, it happened at boxing quite a bit. I mean, and it happened with the movie Creed quite a bit. You're spot on what you're saying. It's that crossover appeal to the grandmothers.
Yeah.
So I literally appeal to a demographic now and a part of the world with middle-aged women, and they think I'm something I'm not. Like I'm not this great gentleman. I'm not this lovely man who's.
You are.
No, I'm a good person. I know deep down I'm a good person, but they make me out. The TV shows you one thing. I'm not saying I'm not that. The TV shows you exactly what I am, but I'm not perfect, mate. And no one should think I'm perfect. Me marriage isn't perfect, and me lifestyle's not perfect, and I'm not the best dad in the world. I try to be them things, and people show me to be them things at times, but I'm still trying. I'm no different than anyone else.
But who is perfect? Do you know what I mean?
No
is
one's perfect. It's just that's how they think. That's how they portray you at times on the television.
You're a very good man.
And in the media.
You're a proper family.
I try my best, mate. I try my best, and I'm very, very lucky. I've got my wife and I've got my kids, because without my wife and kids, like I touched on at the very start of this episode, I would not be here. I would not be here because I was so wild or dangerous as a kid. I mean, listen, I was going to work on nightclub doors at 17, 18, strapping a bulletproof vest on for £100 a night next to me dad. I would fight grown men and be happy over a couple of quid. I would working in a nightclub at 16, standing on a DJ box with a security jumper on a radio, and was saying, "You're not coming in this DJ box, and if you try and test me, I'm going to wallop you on the jaw." And I was 16. And there was 23, 24-year-old grown men in there, whether they were off the cake on drugs or whatever. I wasn't having it. So I look at how my life, what it's come from and how I've been and where it's gone. I'm very grateful and lucky. Like I said before, I've got rid of missus and kids. That's what it gave. Do you know what? They gave me a purpose. Boxing has kept me on the straight and narrow. Boxing gave me a dream to strive towards. But the wife and kids have kept me on that 100%.
Yeah, you're a proper family man. Yeah. What if one of your boys said, "Dad, I want to box. I think it's the direction I want to go down. It's gonna what keeps me on the straight and narrow." What do you say?
I've got a 19-year-old who's going to the boxing gym. He's studying physiotherapy in university. He's a really bright kid. He's doing
handsome
really well.
Boy as well, isn't he?
He's a good-looking boy, 6'4", 80 kilos. He's a good looking kid and he can really punch as well. But he's going to the boxing gym. There's nothing I can do. He's going to Rotunda. I don't want him to box. I've got no intention on boxing. He's got a brain. Why would you ever want to get punched in the head?
But you wouldn't stop him?
I can't stop him. He's 19.
Fair.
What can I do?
And he's bigger than you.
Yeah, and he's bigger than me, yeah. And you know what? Guess what? Youth is a real thing. I've got a 16-year-old kid who's unbelievably good at wrestling. He's unbelievably physically strong, 6'4", a 19-inch neck, a size 13 shoe. He's 16. I can't wrestle him no more.
Good luck with that, Tom.
Takes me to the ground. He's unbelievable. So what can I do? I don't want my kids to fight, no. But do I encourage them to do physical activity and fitness? 100%, yeah. I've got a 12-year-old who plays for Everton Football Club. Makes me proud every day. And then I've got a 5-year-old who my plan is to turn him into Tiger Woods. So do I want any of them in boxing? No. Would I tell any of them they can't box? No. Because that's not my place. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to push themselves towards, I'll always support them. I love my kids more than... I can't put into words how much I love them. I adore them. They're everything to me. If they want to do that and that's what they're going to put their heart and soul into, I won't like it, but I'll support them.
Right. Some current scenes now. We're actually working tonight.
We are.
So we've got a...
Yeah, we are.
Supposed to be. But just some quick questions on the current scene. Just your thoughts on the Saudi involvement, Turki Al-Sheikh, what he's doing for boxing.
His Excellency's been the biggest breath of fresh air I've seen since Harold Smith. Harold Smith was a man who invaded boxing many years ago with the Wells Fargo Bank money and challenged Bob Arum and Don King. Turki Al-Sheikh has came in the game and rejuvenated boxing. I'm not saying he saved boxing, because boxing's doing very healthy. Boxing has always been in a healthy state. He's rejuvenated boxing. He's made the best fight the best, and he's made the best fights happen. That's what he's done, single-handedly. I don't care where the fights take place, the fights have actually happened. I think Saudi I've been there 3 times on 3 different occasions. They've put on some of the best bills I've ever seen in my life. The quality of the fights is second to none. I think the next stage and process for them is now. And I think it's more important than anything else in boxing is making sure we all fight and all governing bodies and commissions all operate under one set of rules. And I think he's powerful enough to do it. Yeah. And I think that could be the biggest legacy and fact that he leaves on boxing. Yeah. I think what he's done with the bills are amazing. I think he's got an eye for talent and he's got an eye for great fights. If you want to leave a lasting thing on boxing, make it all fight under one rules. Make sure that if someone fails a drug test, you're going for this long. You fail another drug test, you're gone for life. Make sure that mandatory challenges get the shot at the said time. Make sure that inactive fighters are punished. Make sure that promoters for keeping fighters inactive are punished. Make sure that managers are forced to create and make fights. There's so many different things out of the game's manipulated that can force people to step aside and go their own way and use their own agendas and their egos to benefit them. He's made such a big stir in boxing. He's made such a big deal. And I just think, as I say, for me now to get it over the line, we all fight under one set of rules. Similar to how the UFC does it. I love the UFC. I'm the biggest UFC fan in the world. But it's so much easier for them because they all fight under the same set of rules and one man is in control. I'm not saying one man can control boxing because one man can never just control boxing. It's too long. It's too broad. It's been here too long, the history of boxing. But if we can all fight under one set of rules and they govern everything, that's a start and a good start.
Will we ever see AJ versus Tyson Fury?
Yes.
Nick Ball versus Inoue.
Wow.
Does that war ever happen?
Oh, wow. I hope not, because I don't think that's a good fight for Nick, and I like Nick.
Even though Inoue's stepping up?
Yeah, Inoue's a different animal. He takes too many. Nick Ball's probably the most exciting fighter in the country, pound for pound. And I just don't like that fight with Inoue. Inoue's slick, he's clever, he's calculated, he's ruthless, and he's possibly, pound for pound, the biggest puncher in the world.
Imagine putting a bit more weight on how hard he would hit them.
Just imagine how many times he's going to hit him, know that, on the way in. So you got to look at it. And that's Nick's game. Nick's game is to take one, to give one. You can't do that with Inoue. Sorry. And I love Nick. I'm a big Nick Ball fan.
Right, is this even thinkable, what I'm about to say? Could we ever see Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua?
No.
No. I agree.
He'd be done for GBH.
Well, you had a bit of needle with Jake Paul, actually.
I didn't have a bit of needle.
A little bit.
I got paid ludicrous amounts. I didn't. I got paid ludicrous amounts of money to go over and cause a stare at a press conference.
Would you fight him?
Of course I would. Why wouldn't I?
Okay.
Do I want to fight him? No. But would I fight him? Absolutely. I don't want to, though. I don't want to go back to a training camp. I don't need it. I don't need the stress, the headaches, the pressure. I don't need my missus going on to me. But, you know, if someone wants to cough up the price, because I've got a price, we've all got a price. If Elon Musk's got a price, Elon Musk said he's got a price to fight Mark Zuckerberg. If the richest man in the world has got a price, fat boy Tony Bellew from fucking Wavertree Toxted has got a price too. So yeah, I've got a price.
You might hit me for saying this. Would you beat Jake Paul?
You cheeky bastard. You cheeky bastard.
All right, quickly.
Would you beat Jake Paul?
All right, I said he was a big lump, and if he hit me, I'd be in trouble. You said don't ever say that again. So yes, I would.
Oh my God! Don't even say that.
You know I would. You know I would.
You better say you would. Then
I would. I'll beat Jake Paul.
There you go.
Right, moving on. Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. Who wins?
Wow. I think it's a fight of two halves.
Yeah.
My heart always says Conor. I love the kid. He's a good kid with a good heart. But if this fight goes past 6 rounds, it's a hard night to work.
It seems that's the general consensus, I think.
I think that 6-round mark is ever. You know what? I should say 8 rounds because Conor's extremely fit.
Oh, proper.
He's unbelievable. So I should go 8 rounds. It's just it's when it gets that stage, that's where weight becomes a factor and size becomes a factor. I think that's when it shows on him. But then I don't think Chris Eubank Jr. is a very good boxer. I think he's a terrible boxer. I think he's a better fighter than he is boxer. I just think he can be copped. If I'm a betting man, I'm saying Conor Benn in the first 5 rounds. I just think he's going to catch him and nail him and jump all over him. But do you know what? If anything this goes out in this scene, whatever, I really hope you patch it up with your family, kid. I really do, because life's short and losing people's horrific, lad, and you know, because you've lost your brother. Go and sort your family life out. I really hope he does. So I only wish him well on that front.
Back to the heavyweight division. Should Joseph Parker be next in line to fight Usyk?
Should have already fought him. Deserved it already, yeah. after what he's done. There's no one more deserving of a world title shot in the world than Joseph Parker.
You'd rather see that fight, whether he deserves it or not. Would you rather see Parker fight Usyk or Dubois rematch?
Well, he quit against Usyk. And I like Daniel Dubois. I think he's a really good fighter. He's proved me wrong on a couple of occasions. 3-4 occasions he's proved me wrong. So I'm not saying he's not deserving of fighting Usyk again, because he is. He's had some big wins. That win over Joshua, I didn't see that coming at all. And if he was to have a rematch, I'd favour Josh going in. I just think he's got better attributes than Daniel Dubois. But it's all about the mindset. But no one's more deserving than Joseph Parker for the shot at Oleksandr Usyk, in my opinion. Nobody in the world. Even though Daniel Dubois is a brilliant fighter. I rate him so highly, but that's my opinion.
Your Mount Rushmore of boxing.
The 4 greatest fighters ever. Okay. Roy Jones Jr. is the first. The second is Muhammad Ali. The third is Sugar Ray Robinson. And the fourth is Sugar Ray Leonard. Yeah. There's certain people who are pushing that 4th spot down. Floyd Mayweather's got every right to say he's in there. Joe Calzaghe's got every right to say he's in there. Andre Ward's got every right to say he's in there. Tony Bellew's not even in the top 100, mate. Andre Ward's got every right to say he should be on there. That 4th spot's up for grabs. It really is. That Floyd Mayweather spot is up for grabs. I'd have Sugar Ray Leonard ahead of Mayweather, to be honest. So I'd have me top, I'd say the top 3 without a shit. I don't even have to think about it. The top 3 that are named. Yeah. Roy Jones Jr. in his prime. No one's ever seen anything like that in your life. And then number 2, Muhammad Ali. It's not just the boxing Muhammad Ali, it's what he stood for. Muhammad Ali's the greatest man to ever put boxing gloves on. Usyk's up there. Usyk's with that shout and then it's Sugar Ray Robinson. Then I've gone to Sugar Ray Leonard after Sugar Ray Robinson because that 4th spot's up for grabs with Sugar Ray Leonard. I can't dispute them first 3. I'm sorry. I can't. No one's touching that. But that 4th spot, there's so many. Usyk can lay claim to it. Mayweather lays claim to it. Ray Leonard lays claim to it. Marvin Hagler can lay claim to it. Roberto Duran can lay claim to it. Ricardo Lopez can lay claim to it.
Oh, what fire he was.
Mate, people don't give him the credit he deserves. Ricardo Lopez is one of the greatest Mexicans ever, if not the greatest Mexican. Unbelievable. Take your pick. Juan Manuel Marquez, Manny Pacquiao. There's so many, so you can't. The 4th spot's up for grabs. I don't think that anyone can touch the other 3.
Last question, Tony.
Yeah.
What would be the one thing you would tell a 20-year-old Tony Bellew if you could go back in time?
Enjoy the moment more when you're in it. Enjoy the moment more when it's happening. I used to just on to the next one. Win. What's the next one? Win. What's the next one? Enjoy the moment. I never did.
Tone, from one heavy hitter to another. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, champ. Thank you very much. Keep watching, guys. It's been amazing. Love talking to you. And listen, it's all about the first round.
This is a knockout deal you cannot ignore. Save 30% on the zone. You're going to catch everything, all the upcoming fights, the lot. Just click on the description below.